Oh God, you're so fuzzy. It's going great.
Oh my God.
Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, October 6th, 2020, and you are listening to the MC Gamescast. I am one of your hosts, Mitchell Barrett, and I am
Oh my
joined by the most
God.
blurry man on Twitch, Charizard81. Charlie
What's going
Zarzuela, what's
on?
going on? We are having some issues here. I don't know how to fix it. Oh God, the song started again. Oh God,
Oh yeah.
we're off to a terrible start. How do you? Nope, can't do anything about it. That's your camera, bro. Um,
Do anything. I've literally not touched
it's
anything since I
it's
started all
it's
this.
yeah, it's completely unfocused. And there's Charlie is gone. Let's see if he comes back. There he is. There we go. In clear, high definition. Charlie's our Zarzuela. Charlie, how's it going?
It's better than the beginning of this
Oh
podcast is.
boy. I will say this. It took us 11 episodes to have a full emergency break coming out of the intro. So I'd say we're doing all right. This is episode 11 of the MC Gamescast. The title of this episode is 35 Marios drop onto a deserted island. Oh my God. Yep. Emergency breaks. Welcome everybody.
And
Thank you guys for being here. We apologize for that intro, or maybe we don't. Maybe it's our best intro ever. Charlie, my man, we're back on schedule. We're back to our normal slot on Tuesday. We've gotten past fatigue and sort of past work stuff.
oh no no no
Yeah,
no.
well, okay. We still have fatigue, but we're good enough today. Work has let up just enough to allow us to do this. I know that you spent a lot of your weekend working, but aside from that, how did your weekend go?
It went okay. You know, it's hard to ascertain because it has been mostly work. Um, had beautiful weather. My toilet didn't overflow.
Hey, let
Um,
me tell my own stories.
I know. Actually, I literally just picked that off the top of my head and completely had um shoved your story that you had told me on break just completely out, and
Hmm.
I did not mean to return to that beaten path.
Oh, don't worry. I was going to
But
get to it. You're good. Go ahead.
no, it's good, like it's work, it's budget season where all my entire brain is just constantly just filled with Excel spreadsheets and what companies are going to do with their expense and revenues for the 2021 year, especially how they're going to react to all this crazy COVID stuff. And it's just, it's bananas, man. Like, I'm just glad, like, we're finding some type of normalcy back here, back on the podcast on a Tuesday night where we can talk about video games. We can get away from all that for just like 2 hours in the day and just, let
Boy,
it all.
and I got to tell you, I earlier today there was there was a moment where I was like, I don't know if I can do this tonight. I was so exhausted. I was beaten down with just shit going on. Some we'll talk about, some we won't. Some of it doesn't need to be aired, but but when we went on our little walk like we always do around 2:30 Central Time, we go and do our laps. We go and get the blood flowing, which and then we talk about whatever video games, whatever, which is actually where the seeds of this podcast came from. We talked about that before. But going on that little walk earlier today kind of got the juices flowing, and here we are. Yeah, I had quite a weekend. It started Friday morning where I woke up incredibly sick again.
Mm.
Uh, got sick about, it was double digit times. Um, this is a problem now. This is not just, oh, I got food poisoning. No, uh, Mitch needs to go to the doctor because he's having
You may want to go get that checked out.
yes, and I absolutely will. It's not just, oh, I didn't drink enough water and I'm dehydrated and I got sick. No, there's something wrong. So I'm gonna get that taken care of.
Yeah. Don't make
Uh,
yourself the second German Irishman for
no,
me to berate this year about regards to going to
no,
the hospital
no.
and getting yourself
It's
checked.
it's it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen very soon. Get that done. TX Viking Strength, thank you for the follow. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us here on the MC Gamescast with myself and Charizar81. Go check him out as well. My wonderful co-host, wonderful streamer, twitch.tv/Charizar81. Anyway, so I dealt with that Friday, missed work, horrible day, just couldn't function for half the day and then slept the rest. So then we get to the weekend, had a good weekend. I went to my mother's house on Sunday. It was fun. We got the whole family together. That's always a good time. And then Sunday night, uh, so Sunday was the first day I started really feeling better. Um,
That's good.
and so Sunday night, okay, we're gonna go a little bit to the gross side for a moment. If vomiting wasn't gross enough, so I had to use the restroom on Sunday night. So I went to the restroom, and it went fine. And I went to flush the toilet, and it didn't go down. And so most people at that point say, "Hey, maybe I should do something about that." Well,
Yeah,
my
most people.
my idea of doing something about that was to flush the toilet again. And let's just say I flooded my bathroom.
Definition of insanity.
Yeah, I flooded my bathroom at 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. Go basically Monday morning, and that was fun. I had just gotten done doing a load of towels. I got to start a new load of those said towels. So, so basically, what I'm saying is that I'm a terrible adult. Just just terrible. I'm allowing
Maybe
myself
in
to
that
be
category,
sick.
but
I'm allowing myself to get sick and not do anything about it. And then I'm just have complete disregard to how to function as an adult and not flood my bathroom. So what I'm saying is my life is going pretty great these days, Charlie. Um, but yeah, you know, look, it happens.
it does happen.
It happens less to other people. Oh, and just for fun, I farted on stream last night and didn't think that the microphone would pick it up. So I'm I'm having a really good few days here, guys.
I'm telling you, we
Uh,
need this. That's why it's good to be back here on a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Let's get things back on track. It seems like, everything has kind of gone off the rails with, said company shortening said close and making things a living heck right now.
yeah.
So let's get back to the good shit. Let's get back to like talking about fun stuff, video games, crazy random stuff, whether you can play bass with a finger up your ass. Let's talk some good shit. Literally.
Which again, our good friend
Or not literally.
Our good friend Smithy Fingers didn't believe me. He thinks I'm lying. No, I would pass the song. I just would. So Smithy, uh, take that to the house. I don't know. Anyway, so speaking of video games, let's get into it. Let's talk about what we've been playing, and if anything, and if today was any indication, Charlie, maybe I should just talk about what I've been playing because you didn't get really a chance to play much, did you?
Yeah, I will just say that what I've been doing will all be pretty much summarized in the scatter shooting later. because I don't think I touched a controller since I beat Diddy Kong or Diddy's Conquest last Thursday. Again, great game, but once that was said and done, I literally had to switch gears back to just straight getting work done, and yeah, I miss it. I miss playing. My my consoles have gone cold, so I got to
Mm-hmm.
warm those suckers up again for some more RE2
Right. And
coming
and
on Thursday.
and and who knows, maybe in the not too distant future you'll have other particular things you might be able to start playing.
Oh yeah, be
Uh
surprised it's coming soon.
exactly. So I actually did play some games because what the fuck else do I have going on aside from making myself sick? Um I of course played more Rocket League because I am obsessed with that game. Been doing a lot of tournaments. It's been hit or miss. Some tournaments go better than others. Recently, they have not gone well. So that game is still incredible. I love it, and I think I'm ready to say it's my favorite game of the generation. I'm sorry, Red Dead, but you've been passed.
It's bold. That's
We
them's
need
bold.
to we need to go back to
It's a
episode.
line in the sand, sir.
We need to go back to episode 3 and dub in me saying my favorite game of all time. Basically, re-record my favorite game of the generation. Because not even 2 months ago, I was like, Red Dead, everybody! Rocket League's great. I started playing No Man's Sky again. In the last couple weeks, they put out one probably their biggest update yet. No Man's Sky, when it was released back in 2016, it's been that long, was an unfinished game. I thought it was, to use a term that I use a lot, it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was a really good chill game, but it lacked a lot of content, especially from the story side. And I guess I guess I should say what No Man's Sky basically is. It's a procedurally generated universe space game where there are endless planets that are procedurally generated, and so you generally won't come across the same planet twice. You definitely don't come across the same flora and fauna twice. It really is an incredible technical achievement, but it just lacked a lot of content. Well, Hello Games, the studio that made the game, did not give up on the game. They've been churning out free updates for the last 4 years, and that game, the game is to a point now to where I think I can fairly say it's really fucking good now. The game is almost 100% different from the first time that I had played it, and it added so many different things. They added really good base building components, and just because it used to be in the beginning, it was just about, hey, go explore this planet. It may or may not have anything kind of neat. Scan some shit and then go to the center of the universe, and that was kind of it. Well, they opened it up to just you could play multiplayer. You can build vehicles aside from your spaceship. You can own freighters to go on quest for you. The amount of stuff they have added to it, and then on top of that, like it mattered. They added 10 times the amount of new planets, which, considering there were billions of planets that you could go to in the beginning, it's staggering the amount of content that is in this thing. And so that means that there are just billions of planets that are still undiscovered because everything's connected online. And so you could theoretically go to a planet that's already been discovered and already terraformed and already claimed by somebody else, but the likelihood of that is incredibly small. It's still incredibly chill. It's really fantastic now. I really appreciate a company that sticks with it. And yeah, they had some issues and they got a lot of shit for it in the beginning, but they've really produced really what they dreamed up when they first started the project. And it's really cool to see. And I'm really glad I'm back into that game and I'm going to keep playing it. I don't know how great it plays on a stream, but I kind of don't care. You know me, Charlie, and you're kind of the same way. I'm just gonna play what I want, and if people like it, that's fine. It's great.
Is it now? Obviously, with all the advancements and the patches and the additions that they're making to it, how closer? I mean, it's obviously closer to being what the producers at the E3 presentation
Hmm.
purported it to be. Is it still? Does it still have room for filling in? Like, is it basically like? Because I remember you were super like you were so super
It
excited when
was,
that
yeah, it
thing
was my most anticipated game that year.
had come out at the E3, and they were saying like all these expectations
Hmm.
and what could possibly be, and I guess my thought my question to you is, from what it was when it first came out, like say that was a D, and
Sure.
I'm not that's not a grade, I'm just giving it a
Sure. No, I
letter,
understand.
an A being what you imagined it to be, like where in that um, range would you say it's falling right now? You
So
say like a B minus or maybe a B?
I would say a solid B on its way to B plus A minus because I still have a lot to go through.
Yeah.
Because I played it after the second update, which added a lot and made it a lot better, and probably put it at a, C plus B minus. Um, just it, a lot of the problems with the original release was the quality of life stuff. It was really clunky in a lot of the stuff that it did. Oh, you've got to recharge your life support. You got to go into a menu. You've got to select the oxygen component. Then you've got to put it into the life support to get your life support back. Same thing with radiation support and refueling your ship. Now they added quick buttons to that. Quick toggles with the D-pad. Like they really focused on that quality of life stuff. And then just and not only did they expand it in, let's just throw a bunch of really cool stuff into it. All of it makes sense. All of it makes sense. The base building, like again, in the basically in the when that game was originally released, planets meant nothing. You would go to a planet, you would take all of the shit that you needed to get your warp drive, and then you'd be gone. That planet didn't matter anymore. It was on to the next one. Well, with the base building, and they've given you multiple reasons to have a home planet. You go to all these planets. Some of them are hell planets. You go there, and it's just it's a near boiling point in temperature, and they're just hellscapes, or they're frozen planets, and they give nothing. And then every now and then you come across these paradise planets where it's just stunning. It's beautiful. They have
Yeah.
these incredible skyboxes and these rolling hills. And it used to be you would go there and it would be like, man, this looks really pretty. I'm gonna go over there and get that silver, and then I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, and then you never come back again. Well, now you can make that your home that you can always go back to by going using teleporters and from space stations. And so they've given you many reasons to come back to old planets and make your home. Or make multiple homes. You make multiple planets your homes as you do this journey. The story is more fleshed out, but it's largely the same. It's about finding out what the Atlas is all quote the Atlas is all about, and making it to the center of the universe. But they've fleshed that out, added more story to it, added more lore, and gave some personality to the NPC characters, and made the NPC characters matter. So yeah, I got to keep playing it, but I think it's well on its way to being a very good game. And to kind of go what you were also saying, is the game, are they still going to continue, like they're going to keep supporting it? They've already said that they're working on the next big update. So they
Yeah.
4+ years later, they're not giving up on this thing, which they could have easily given up on the game. They could have put it out and been like, well, that didn't work out. Let's do something else. And I would say that some of the reason why there were such issues in the beginning is that it was a timed exclusive with Sony, and Sony was really pushing them to get that game out in 2016 to be one of their tentpole
Ah, okay.
games. And Hello Games is a very small developer. So, I mean, it's not like having an exclusive with EA, and EA has the ability to be, well, they won't do this because they're a terrible developer, but they could go to Sony and be like, we need more time. They're EA. They could say that. Hello Games is a very small developer. They can't do that when Sony is funding a lot of the project. It's very difficult for indie developers to do that, and that hurt them in the end, because I think if they would have allowed themselves to have an additional year, I think that game could have been a lot closer. But where the game is now, I guarantee you, is exactly where they dreamed it to be in 2016, and it's incredibly. It's incredibly it gives you really positive vibes, because it so many times we see big developers put out games that are broken and they barely fix them. I mean, we've seen that with the WWE series, where they just don't fix them. EA with some of their games, they don't fix them. But so it's nice to see developers, big or small, take their game and say, "Hey, this game was not where it was supposed to be. Let's show these gamers that were extremely excited and now disappointed that we're gonna bring them the content that we promised them. It'll be late, but we're gonna bring it, and then we're also not gonna charge you for it, because the amount of content they put out, they could have easily been like, this is an expansion and it's $25. Didn't do that. So it's very refreshing to see a developer really go out of its way to try to make it right, and I think they did. It's great.
Excellent.
So the new game that I played this week, which is the theme of our week. If you're watching the stream, you could see it in the background, and the episode title. I played Super Mario Brothers 35. It is the battle royale by Nintendo, and by the secondary developer that made Tetris 99. The Tetris Battle Royale game. Tetris 99 is a fantastic game, a fantastic multiplayer game. So they made this. Charlie, we've talked about this since the announcement. Super excited for this. And we were both really wondering what this game was. And
Yep.
after playing it for 2-3 hours, I can tell you it's an incredibly very mediocre package, unfortunately. So it's not like we thought it might be, which is everybody starts on 1-1, and then you just play Super Mario Brothers, and then you just go through a succession of levels all the way through, and you could potentially finish Super Mario Brothers. You generally start on 1-1, and then it's kind of random from there what level you go to next. You could end up in 1-2. You can end up on 3-1. You can end up in a lot of places after each successful level. When you kill enemies, those enemies get shot over to a different player that you are targeting, which you could target either at random, based on if they're trying to attack you. Their time limit is low, or they have the most coins. Coins mean something in this, because when you get 20 coins, you could do a roulette style game where you can get a mushroom, a flower, a star, or a POW block. You have a time limit, and every time that you kill enemies or get 1-ups, you get additional time. I found it to be very shallow. I found the end game, when you get down to 5 or less people, to be incredibly repetitive and boring very quickly. I don't think this game has legs like Tetris 99 does. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be some that are going to just that are such nuts about Super Mario Brothers. And I thought I was going to be one of those, and it turns out that's not the case. I thought that there was going to be a lot of people. I think there's going to be some people that are like, it's Mario Brothers, and they're going to be really good at it, and they're going to do it. But unless they make substantial changes to the way that game plays, and especially the end game stuff, I just don't think it's going to have the legs. And it's incredibly disappointing to me, because when they announced this, it became one of my most anticipated games this year. And it falls flat very, very quickly. It's just the end game is just not any fun. And I'm really tired of playing 1-1. Like, you end up on 1-1 a ton. Yeah,
Have you gone back to it since then?
I went back to it briefly, just kind of on my own, not on stream. Played one match, got into the top 10, and then it kind of became that the game of attrition where it's just like just somehow survive. Um, and I think one of the issues that is the it's the time limit. I think you get too much time from killing enemies, and you can max out your timer. And I think because of that, it gives people too much time to play the game, and that's how you get into that end game where everybody's got the max time because they're good at Mario, and then basically it just becomes who's gonna mess up and accidentally drop in a hole or accidentally touch that Goomba. Ti Cup, thank you for the follow. Welcome, appreciate you. Welcome to the Gamescast. Yeah, I'm extremely disappointed in it, and I hope that they do some work on it and try to balance it better and try to do some really cool limited time modes. Because if they keep it the way it is, then I think what we'll find is that that's the reason why they made it a limited release, because I think they may have figured out that way too far into development that I don't know if this has legs, because I don't think it is in the state that it's in.
And it could be the fact that, remember when this sucker came out? It was all of a sudden, Nintendo had their event and we were like completely blown away. And it could be the fact that, like, with Mario Maker setting such a precedence with the fact that you can damn near do anything in that game,
Mm-hmm.
that there's almost this weird expectation with Nintendo that we want them to do and perform these ridiculous feats with their known IP. I mean, when's the last time they've come up with something completely unique in the last,
Sure.
you know, and, maybe, I don't know if it is the fact like that this is a limited time release and they're just like, hey, jump on in and play this, and maybe they'll surprise us with something over the holiday weekend. It is kind of disappointing to hear you say that, because we were looking um, for lofty like, I guess I don't know, maybe it's just our expectations were so lofty and so high that anything under it would be considered disappointing.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I mean, obviously, when it comes to Mario, I mean, there's always that set high expectation for a Mario game, and I think for me specifically, it was they're doing something obviously with an existing series, but they're doing something a little bit outside of the box, and I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm all for companies going and thinking it outside the box, even with existing IPs. And I think as an idea, it's very cool. And of course, also coming off of Tetris 99 being so successful and good too, um, it could have been just one of those things where no matter what, there was going to be a sense of disappointment with this. It just couldn't possibly hit those lofty expectations.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, just looking at it on its own, I just don't know that it's got the legs. It's unfortunate. We'll see here in a couple weeks. Give it a few weeks. Maybe they put out updates. Maybe they do some limited time stuff. Maybe they'll do some really good balancing and especially to that end game, and hopefully it'll get better. I'm not giving up on it completely, but maybe I'll just let it sit and stew for a little bit. And that's it. That's all I played. Not much. And just in the interest of keeping it rolling, let's go ahead and get us to our next segment. And while I get this set up, I just want to say thank you, McStreamy, for being here. Thank you so much for continuing that sub. Appreciate you, brother-in-law. You're the best. It was good seeing you this weekend. So let's go ahead and get into the next segment, which is an incredibly limited news. And as I said, We don't have much in the way of news. Um, we have three news stories that two of them could have easily not been in here. The first one being, I'll go ahead and go first. The first one being Super Smash. Nintendo announced new Super Smash Brothers Unlimited characters, and they announced Minecraft characters. Minecraft Steve, Alex, the Zombie, and the Enderman are coming to Super Smash Brothers Ultimate on October 13th. So if you like Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, then you got some new characters. That's cool. I don't play that game. I know you don't either. But that's cool. I will say this about Ultimate: they've done a really good job of putting out new characters for that thing. And yeah, maybe Nico's right. Maybe what we should do is we should do 4 stories. 3 of them are real, and 1 of them is fake. And you, the viewer, get to decide which one's the fake news. So that's it for that. Charlie, what's next?
Guys, it's finally gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Half-Life 3. It's finally.
And it's out now.
I can't even do it.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. You could have picked something a little bit more plausible as the fake news.
Left 4 Dead 3.
That's somehow
another Valve property.
that's somehow less plausible than Half-Life 3 at these points.
The news, obviously, this week, Fall Guys Season 2 begins. That means Fall Guys Season 1 is about to come to an end. What these guys have done in the short amount of time that this game has come out has been ridiculous. They continuously are on the soch. They are just constantly updating this game, patching it, making it great for gamers. If you don't follow this group on Twitter, you should, because they're so funny. And
Fall Guys
so
Twitter's
hilarious.
great. Yeah, it's fantastic.
But yeah, Season 2 begins. I'm looking forward to it. When they showcased it at a show earlier, it looked like they had a lot of new ideas coming down the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
There were several platforms that basically you need to collab in order to hurdle the new obstacles that are coming by the wayside. Looks like they're going to have a pirates motif this time around.
I think it's pirates and medieval.
Yeah, pirates and medieval. I'm looking forward to seeing what more they can do, because we joke around on this channel a lot. It's like, what's going on? Okay, they're gonna add guns, they're gonna add vehicles, etc. So they're basically gonna make a Fall Guys war zone, essentially. But I know a lot of people have been clamoring for crossplay. I know a lot of the Xbox people are wanting to know when their turn comes.
Switch.
Switch, yeah, oh yeah, totally. Switch as well. We'll see. I don't know.
I think that's next year before any of that happens, but I hope it happens soon. And they need to do crossplay between PS4 and PC first. Go ahead.
I've always had an issue with that, because PC, like, you got those tinkerers out there who can tend to bend the rules, and they've actually done a great job by putting those tinkerers in their own little arenas to have them, cheat amongst themselves while the honest Joe.
Yeah, it's probably why the crossplay isn't in yet, because they're trying to get the PC version as clean as possible when it comes to the cheaters themselves.
Yeah, Season 1's about to end, so get your crown in.
Yeah,
if you can.
Yeah, I fell off that game kind of hard, because I you play it enough, and you've got your favorite games, and you've got the ones you don't like, and it's good. I definitely am going to jump back in once the new season begins. And what
are your hopes for the new game?
I mean, just more variety. And what I'm hoping is that they don't cycle out the old games necessarily, except maybe the ones that aren't that good. Like, I would like to see Tail Tag completely taken out. I think that game doesn't work very well because the latency is not 1-to-1 yet. I don't think the soccer game is that good either.
Oh, I
Uh,
love that game.
I don't know. I don't think it plays right. Um, I'm not a fan of the team games, but I understand why you have the team games. So some of them are a little bit better than others. I think
The egg game
the
is the
egg
one
one,
that I'm thinking that can be ixnayed.
I think it's okay. I think the ring one is okay. Um, but the just adding some more variety. I think what you said about the collaboration stuff I think is really cool, and hopefully they implement that really well. Um, and and of course just the thing
Thanks,
one
Nico.
yeah, one of the things that made this game really big was the really cool costume stuff that they did, and I really hope it looks like the new season stuff, the medieval theme, pirate theme stuff. It looks like that stuff looks really neat, and I want to see some of the ideas that came up with that. So yeah, and hopefully it comes out to Xbox and Switch relatively soon. Um, because I mean that's a game that everybody should mess around with and play. I think it's a really neat idea.
I definitely still want to see improvements with their party matching play because I know that there are still issues with that in regards to people partying up and then getting thrown into different games.
Yeah.
um, that is definitely one that, um, if done right, can really, really put this game into the stratosphere. It's funny hearing you say that you fell off of it so hard because I remember you were a buzz with that game and you were just like, "This is game of the year.
Oh, I
Don't
mean
even don't even worry about it."
it makes an incredibly really good impression, a first impression. It really does, and it's very accessible. It's a game that I haven't had my kids play it yet, but it seems like a game that my kids would really enjoy playing as well. But you are right that the the party the party up system and a lot of that stuff is real bad to where
Mhm.
it does and it's a little it kind of goes back to quality of life things. When you're in a party with someone and say you get knocked out, it should automatically focus on your teammate, and it doesn't. You have to go find them. And on PC it's even worse, where you don't have names, you're just a number. Well, if you don't know what your
Yeah.
friend's number is, you're never going to find them. And like you said, they still have connection issues, not anywhere near like the first couple weeks, but
No.
there are a lot of times where you get split up from your groups and put into different separate games, and sometimes don't connect at all. And hopefully with season 2 they've really fixed that stuff, and really fixed that quality of life stuff, because it's an incredibly good premise for a game, and does make that really good first impression. Yeah, it's you know I I'm encouraged with what season 2 looks like, and I definitely want to give it another shot. And I totally understand kind of what Nico is saying, where for some people that novelty wears off fast. It kind of did for me, not enough to where I
Yeah.
won't ever play it again, but I mean it does when the issues of the game really pop up. So
Yeah.
hopefully season 2 answers a lot of those questions.
I mean, it's
Um,
nice to have a game like that it's not Call of Duty, it's not Resident Evil. If you just want to pop in a game while your son is trying to wake up or have a bowl of cereal,
mhm.
or if he's sitting in your lap, you can play it without having any worries or qualms about, him wondering what that red ooze is, coming out of
Right.
someone's forehead.
Yeah, and it's a cool concept, and it's a new type of concept, and it's a fucking adorable ass game. So it's cool. It's cool that it exists, and hopefully season 2 is much better. And actually, with Nico here, that actually reminds me of one little story that I forgot to put in, and I'll just mention this briefly. Another game that both Nico and I fell off of, Hyperscape. So Ubisoft announced that they're basically going back to the drawing board and completely revamping
Oh,
that game, especially the console versions. They could never get in there and kind of fix the control issues of the especially the console controller, and they said that they're kind of going back to the drawing board for that. And to that, I would
Man.
say in a genre like Battle Royale that is extremely populated with high quality games, it might be too late. Like that
Mm.
it may be already dead on arrival, and
Mm.
that sucks because the the
Mm.
the the foundation of that game is really cool, but it just doesn't play well, and I don't think people are going to come back. I'm not going to come back. I mean, I've already moved on. Nico's already moved on. So that sucks for them. It had a lot of promise. And then speaking of battle royale, this is a battle royale intensive uh, uh, news. Apex Legends finally.
That's something.
I sorry, I got distracted by Josh's comment. Sorry. I thought it said something else. Uh, uh, the Apex Legends is finally getting crossplay today. So you could play between Xbox, PC, and PS4. That's been long waited. Apex Legends, a fantastic BR game. It has been from the start. I still like getting in there every now and then. So now it's got crossplay. So now you can play with everybody. Um, and
Is it going to do the Call of Duty matchup though, where you're matched up console for console versus like being matched up against PC gamers? Because you know how that is. PC gamers tend to have that little extra
mm,
something
sure,
that can
I think
completely
you have
run the map.
I think you have the option to keep it to controller only opponents. If people on a PC are using controller, they'll be linked up with controller opponents on consoles and vice
Yeah,
versa. And if you're on a
that's
mouse and
good.
keyboard, or if you want to just be thrown in with whoever, you can also have that
Yeah,
option. A
that's
lot
good.
of these style of games do that where you can have that option. The big difference in skill between controller and mouse and keyboard is obviously not the gap that it used to be back in the day. But
Yeah.
there's still is that. And that's really it. Two new releases. FIFA 21 is out on Friday. It's FIFA. Do you like soccer? Do you like paying $60 for minimal changes and roster updates? FIFA 21 is for you.
Oh,
FIFA is a very good series.
that game is
It's
great.
great. But again, I mean, but it's a yearly series. So if you have FIFA 20, you're probably okay this year. But FIFA to me, FIFA is still the best made sports game out there. It may not be my favorite sport, but I think in just terms of the quality of the product, I think that series has consistently been very good as compared to some of the off years that Madden and NBA 2K have had, and MLB The Show. Um, but yeah, so that's out. It's on
Well, I
PC.
mean, in regards to our brothers across the pond, who it's right now 3 in the morning over there.
Hmm.
They, boy, you have some
I
diehard
mean,
bleed out
oh yeah,
fans who
it's
play that
it's their
game.
Madden.
It is. I was gonna. That was you took the words right out of my mouth. It is their Madden, and except I think, like you just said, it is the best playing game. It is
Yeah,
crisp. It is solid. It controls so well. I haven't played a FIFA game since 16,
I think that was the last one I played too.
and I'm honestly curious as to how much it's evolved since then
Hmm.
because it's like, flight simulator. How much really can you evolve once you've reached that apex? Like, yes,
Sure.
we can make the graphics a lot better,
Yeah.
but man, how much more can you make the players more controllable?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Physics.
saying?
Yeah.
So all the physics that go with that,
Yeah.
like let's put some trace effects with, the hair flowing through the
Yeah,
wind
and
and stuff. So
I do want to see what it looks like on next gen. Today 2K put out a trailer for the next generation console version of NBA 2K, and it looks incredible. Who knows how it'll play, but it looks phenomenal. They had a game between the Warriors and the Mavericks, and Oh boy, Luka looks so good in that. I mean, everybody does. Like Steph Curry looks incredible. Like it's just the it really does show off what the consoles can do. So like I would I don't think I'll buy if I do get FIFA because I feel like I'm kind of at that point now where it's like I kind of want to play a FIFA game. It's been long enough because I feel like FIFA in the last decade has been the game that I've liked the most of sports games and played. But I'm curious what that looks like because of course there's going to be a new Madden version. Uh, it's so I'm curious what that looks like on the new consoles and. For us Maverick fans, maybe don't watch the trailer if you care enough because the Warriors win the game on a buzzer beater by Steph over the Mavericks. So,
At least
whatever.
it's not Baron Davis, you know.
Well, yeah.
Mm.
What? What? Why? Well, don't do that. Don't do that. But anyway, so yeah, so that's out, and also today, on PC is the Baldur's Gate 3 early access. The
I saw
sequel.
Chris got that.
Yeah, our friend Lead Asian got it. A lot of people are really excited about this. I haven't played Baldur's Gate in so long. And the one thing that I have read, and again, I'm only going by what I've read, through the media, the fake news. The It's early access in every description of it. It's buggy as hell.
Well,
And which again, if you're buying a game in early access, that you have to go in thinking that is what can happen, but it seems like there have been some people that said it could have used a little bit more work before they put it out to the public. They'll get to it. They'll make it. They'll get it fixed. And I used to be a big fan of Baldur's Gate back in the day. It's one of the most anticipated games to come out this year, which of course later on we'll get to that. Actually, speaking of that, we'll just go ahead and get to it now because that's the new releases. That's the news.
that's it.
That's it. That's it. So the topic of the show today is so we've gone over the consoles and what do we expect from the consoles. What we haven't talked about yet, Charlie, are the games that are coming out
Games?
this fall. And so what we thought we would do today is we would go through the highlights of the games that are going to be coming out between now and the end of 2020. And this includes old consoles and new consoles. And we thought we would just go in order of release. Just either we can either talk about them or we can we can move on because we may not have any actual thoughts. And so Charlie, the first thing that I got on this list is that Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, that augmented reality.
I'm so excited for that thing.
Mario Kart
It's so stupid.
is coming out on October 16th for the Nintendo Switch. When you purchase it, you get a remote, but essentially is a remote control Mario or Luigi kart, and you get which has a camera fixed on the cart, and then you get these pylons, if you will, that you put around your house, around your living room, your house. And you set it up, and then it becomes this augmented reality Mario Kart game. In concept, it's cool as hell, especially if it works exactly how they say it's going to work. But we've talked about this before. I fear that's going to be something you're going to do for about a week, and you're going to get bored of it.
And see, it is definitely a who is your audience. If this were 10-year-old me, I would tell you you're crazy. Because
yeah.
All over this
Absolutely.
all day long. I would be jonesing to get school finished with so I can go home, set up random tracks around my house.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with a dog in the house. See if I can chase his ass down.
Yeah.
and play that sucker. It may just be the fact that, again, we're older, and also, at least from our standpoint, I know we got some people in the chat who have older kids that would be probably be really really into playing something like this. My
Yeah.
my son's not. I'm scared that my son literally would break
Yeah.
this thing
My
5 seconds into it.
my 8-year-old daughter saw an ad for it on one of her videos she was watching on YouTube
Excellent.
and really wants us to get it, which is fine if I didn't have the most destructive 5-year-old in the history of the earth. Because you're right, and plus, again, you have to have a lot of room in your house to
Yeah,
do this. You could do it outside, but then you're kind of away from your Wi-Fi, and you may not be able to do it because it does use the Wi-Fi. You have to be online to do it. Um,
I wonder what happens like. And so I guess my biggest worry is like you're sitting there and your race car is going, and all of a sudden you trip on something, like, and you just see your car upside down sitting there as your camera's pointing at some dust bunny in the corner. You
right.
go chase that sucker
And
down,
you know
flip it
what?
over.
You know what I want to see? I want to see on Twitch. I want to see people do a dual cam system where they have the game up and then they put a wireless camera on the car
Hell yeah.
and drive that. See, I want to see that. I feel like this is going to be a game that I'm going to enjoy from afar. You know, like I probably won't
And I
get
wonder
it
what is the range of it too. Do we know?
right. Okay, well, I mean, it's obviously it's based on Wi-Fi and your connection to your controllers. So I would imagine it's going to be like anything. If you get too far away from your Wi-Fi, it's going to
It's like a drone.
malfunction. Or if you get too far away from your controllers, and we the Joy-Cons are not great controllers, and I wonder what that range is. I am fascinated with the technology of this. I'm fascinated with everything about it except for the part to where I don't think I'll buy it and play it. Like I want to see other people do it
Well, sure.
more than anything, and I'll be fascinated what the reviews will be for it. It's a again, it's Nintendo doing something weird, doing something a little bit out of the box, and you love to see that. And I hope they continue to try different things like this, which it seems like they've done. They've kind of gotten away from, oh, let's just put out a Mario game and then moving on. And so,
Is this our generation's Rob?
hopefully not, because then it'll be terrible. God, oh, Rob, what's wrong with you? And that is our Rob Bennett. So that comes out on October 26th, and then October 29th, the latest installment of Watch Dogs is out. Watch Dogs Legion by Ubisoft. It's on PC, PS4, Xbox, and Stadia, because apparently that's a week later. It's still a thing. Oh God! Oh God!
Uh-oh.
Oh boy! Call 911.
Is it on the Amazon? What's the Amazon gaming unit called?
I don't think that's out yet. I think they just announced that.
Okay, I didn't know if it would
Yeah,
be on that as
I
well.
don't think so. I have not played Watch Dogs ever. Any of the Watch Dogs games. I did not play the first Watch Dogs because it was reviewed as incredibly disappointing after the big E3 showing, and then I never got around to Watch Dogs 2, which I hear is it's actually a really good game. So I don't have a lot on Watch Dogs. Charlie, I don't think you do either because I don't think you ever played it either.
Same here. My version of Watch Dogs was Assassin's Creed,
Sure.
and again, when the trailers came out for Watch Dogs initially, I was so excited to
Yeah.
dive into that particular world where you were just using your phone to hack a whole bunch of things and make your way through whatever campaign they were going to throw at you in this brand new open world. But again, like you said, when it initially came out, there was so much negativity that surrounded it that it pretty much just shied me away from it too much.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to spend, $60 in something that, you know, I try not to look into reviews too much, but
Of
when there's just
course.
when the noise is loud enough, you
Yeah.
can't help but
Of course.
warrant the fact that, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
And so I was kind of bummed that when I heard the reviews coming out for Watch Dogs 2 and they were really, really good, I was like, oh man, it's kind of weird. It's almost taking that it's taking a dumbed down version of the path that Assassin's Creed took.
Hmm.
Although Assassin's Creed 1 was critically acclaimed, even though its gaming system was pretty, shallow and sort of one dimensional,
Yeah.
especially from where it went from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm interested to see where this game and its properties go.
Right.
The boy, the trailers for this one are just bananas
They are,
crazy,
and they look. It looks really
and
cool. I love
it looks
the.
really cool.
I really love the idea of any person can become a player character.
Yeah,
That's a cool concept. And if there's enough uniqueness to each individual character, I think that'll work really well. And I think it's a really neat concept. That'll be a game that I kind of watch from afar and see how it does in terms of reviews and what people in general are saying about it before thinking about getting into that. That's on PC, PS4, Xbox, and Stadia. Like I said, I'm sure it's coming to new consoles. I didn't see anything specifically on that. Next up on November 3rd, this one is specifically for our friend Mean Green. I hope he's still in the chat. You're gonna have to go and get your
he dare.
yeah. You need to go and get your Nintendo Switch back from your nephew because Jurassic World Evolution Complete is coming out to the Nintendo Switch on November 3rd. That is
This
not
just in, he is getting it back.
that is not a real entry to this. I just wanted to say that because Ryan played that game for like 3 minutes and uninstalled it. That's just a joke. And then we get to November 10th, which is the release of the Xbox Series S and Series X. Next generation begins November 10th. Those will be out. And coming out same day, Assassin's Creed
Valhalla.
Valhalla, which is which is coming out for the PC, PS4,
Ugh.
PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and Stadia. Um, it's Vikings.
No Vita.
All right.
Damn it.
It's it takes place in Viking times and looks fucking badass. I think this is going to be my launch game. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since what's the middle Assassin's Creed 2 game? Is that Brotherhood?
Yes.
I have not played an Assassin's Creed game since Brotherhood. I think my body is ready. This looks really good. I
Your
think
body is ready.
yeah, you heard me. It wasn't ready on Friday, but it's ready now. Uh, it looks fantastic. I think I think it looks fucking fantastic. I don't know if you know this, Charlie, but games look good now. They look very good.
What?
What? And yeah, I think I'm ready to dip back into Assassin's Creed. What was the last Assassin's Creed you played?
I actually started playing Origins not too long
Ah,
ago,
yes.
and honestly, it was literally right after I plowed my way through the Uncharted trilogy. Still haven't played the fourth one yet. Gonna make my way to it, but I needed something different. And wow, is that thing big?
Is that the Egypt one?
I yes, I
Okay.
love the idea between the Egyptian. I love the idea of the Egyptian times. It's a cool era, like you got the pyramids, you have the pharaohs, you have the Egyptian gods, and obviously you have the assassins guilds that are portraying themselves through ancient Egypt. And I really would like to eventually get my way through that game and then eventually get to Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me in regards to the Greek gods because, man, like, I'm a God of War fan
Yeah.
by um, and to see a different IP that I really, really enjoy tackle that topic
Hmm.
would be really, really interesting to see.
Yeah,
So, um,
a lot
and it's so
of
funny because they're going now the way that God of War is going, because
it's
God of
yeah,
War
a
is now
little bit.
gone
Yeah,
the Norse Viking way, and now they are kind of too. So,
yeah. No, in from what I've gathered, Odyssey is the best that series has been since the two series. Origins is supposed to be great too, but Odyssey is supposed to be kind of back up to kind of peak Assassin's Creed, and hopefully this one is too.
Odyssey is the best it's been since Black Flag.
Sure. Yeah. Black Flag was supposed to be really good too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think that's going to be the game that I get at launch. So maybe around that time we'll have a review of it. Up next, we got something in there just for our good friend Nico. The new expansion for Destiny 2 Beyond Light is out on November 10th on PC, PS4, Xbox, and Xbox Series X. I did not see anything about PS5, but I assume it's coming to PS5 as well. It is already on Game Pass. Microsoft and Bungie announced that Beyond Light will be available day of on Game Pass as well. And so it's more Destiny. And the people that like Destiny fucking love Destiny. They swear by it. They love it. Anytime I've watched it or seen people play it, all I do is come away from it just confused at what the hell is going on in that game. It seems like one of those games that it's a very big investment to get into that game. You have to really put yourself into that game if you're gonna play Destiny and get anything out of it. I know Nick is very excited for it. We probably won't hear from Nick for a few weeks after that comes out. Um,
Yeah.
uh, by the way, Nico has made it safely to Virginia. Our good friend Nick is in Virginia now, and we're happy that he got there and his family got there just fine. Already miss you, buddy, and we love you. That was really heartfelt, and we love you.
In the Pro Bowl
Yeah, in the Pro
yesterday.
Bowl yesterday. Next up, Tetris Effect Connected. Tetris Effect was a game that came out on the PS4 in 2019, I believe is correct. And for a lot of people was their game of the year. It also was in virtual reality. It is now coming to Xbox. It's adding multiplayer to it. It's supposed to be the definitive version of this game, and I'm looking forward to trying this game. I did not try it because I was not really big into my PlayStation at the time. So it'll be nice to try that out. Tetris Effect. Then the new Yakuza is coming, Charlie. Like a
I have
dragon.
got to play a Yakuza
Oh
game.
my God, play Yakuza Zero. It's oh God, it's so good. That is coming to PC, PS4, Xbox, and Xbox Series X. We do know that the PS5 version is not releasing on the same day. Xbox Series X got the timed exclusive on the next gen version. The PS5 version will be out in March. It's a whole new character. It's not Kiryu anymore. It's a different guy. I don't know his name. But Yakuza is another one of those like Destiny. If you like Yakuza, you fucking love Yakuza. It's probably the best thing Sega does these days because they certainly aren't making any good Sonic games. Um, you know, you should play Yakuza Zero. You would love it. It's your. You need to get Yakuza Zero and play that shit on stream.
I
It's
know.
so good.
Yeah.
I would watch every time if you played it on stream.
What is. I remember Yakuza was out on PS Plus as a free game not too long ago. That's
Mm-hmm.
I definitely am just like, stick it in the library. Let's just add it in there.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll play it someday.
yeah.
It looks rad. Like
Oh,
I've
it's
seen
so
Yakuza
good.
games played. I'm like, I might get into this.
It's so good, and it's the stuff around the game is incredible. Just the like the side quests and side stuff in there are just ridiculous and so over the top, and it's just wonderful. And I'm sure that this one is going to do exactly the same thing with that. So that is also coming out on November 10th. And then we get to November 12th. PlayStation 5 is out.
Yeah, baby.
And we've talked about this many times. If you want games now, this is the console to get, because the games that are coming out the day of release are certainly, they have games, is what I'm trying to say. First up,
If you want the better games, now you can start listening to this list.
right, and I'm just gonna take that bullshit homerism and throw it out the window. Demon Souls, the remake of Demon Souls, is out the first day.
Oh, I'm so excited for that.
Uh, I'll go ahead and do my positioning statement one more time on the Souls games. I don't want to play them. This looks fucking incredible. It
Yeah.
looks so good. It looks creepy as shit. It looks like From Software has never been known as a company to make good-looking games and games that run particularly great. It looks like they took their time with this, and it looks incredible. The physics look out of this world.
Well, and Demon Souls is not that old of a game, but, and I keep referring back to it, the graphical leap that it makes from Demon Souls, the original Demon Souls, to this, it's
It's stunning.
damn near challenges what you see regarding Resident Evil 2 and the Resident Evil 2
Oh yeah.
remake.
Oh yeah. Like
It's
like
just
like the original Demon Souls looks like garbage now. It looks terrible now compared to it. That was a PS3 game that looked really good on the PS3.
even
And
Dark Souls, like when that sucker came out,
mhm.
and you're comparing it to this, you're just like, oh my gosh, like within the span of 4 games, they've literally made that leap to something that
Well,
looks so good.
think about just Bloodborne, which is a PS4 game.
Yeah.
That leap from Bloodborne, and Bloodborne looks really nice.
Oh yeah.
This is it's games look good. Charlie,
Jar-
Charlie. No games. Man, it looks great. Godfall is out. That's that God of War clone.
Yep. It's a
Um,
loop grab game that plays just like God of War. I'm starting to come around on what that could possibly be. It's one of those things where if it attacks one, I'm not gonna say it attacks, but if it encroaches on an IP that is near and dear to my heart, I'm definitely gonna put it underneath a magnifying glass
of
where I'm going to
course.
literally nitpick everything at it.
Yeah.
Um, I feel about this game like I did about what's that game? Amalur,
Kingdoms of Amalur. Yeah.
Kingdoms of Amalur, where it presents a lot, but boy, it needs to deliver. And I really, really think it can. A lot of
Yeah.
people are starting to get excited about this game. The
Yeah.
closer we get to November 12th, and it's just coming out for the PS5.
Yeah, it's I mean, it may be coming out for Xbox at some point, but in
No, I know it's a
2020,
time release. Yeah.
yeah, in 2020 it's PS5 exclusive. I don't think Xbox has even shown it, so I don't even know if it's even been announced for Xbox. But
Well, I'm
whatever.
surprised like they wouldn't have like a PS4 version of it.
Sure.
I'm surprised.
I thought from the beginning that game showed really well. But again, I don't have the God of War, the history of God of War like you do. And I didn't realize it was a launch game until I saw it here. That's cool. That's the launch game.
Yep.
We'll get to the next one last because I think that's the big one. But that Pathless is also out on launch day. That's PC, PS4, PS5, and iOS. Which that's really weird that it's on iOS. That's that adventure game that kind of looks like Zelda Breath of the Wild,
Yeah,
where
that's definitely the game. I remember you coined it that this is my kind of
oh
game.
yeah,
And the
and
more I watched it, I was like, yep, this is a game that you could sink your teeth into.
right, and maybe after you actually do play Breath of the Wild, maybe
Sure.
you'll get that feeling with the Pathless. Yeah, if I was getting a PS5, that's probably the game that I would get at launch. along with the other one,
Oof.
along with the other one that's coming out. Because I'm not a Demon Souls guy, and like Godfall interests me, but not enough as much as like the Pathless does. It looks fantastic. I really hope that game turns out really good. It's by a small developer, and it looks
Yeah.
really interesting. And the final game coming out the day of, aside from all the other third party games, is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Um,
Oh.
that's PS4, PS5. Also same, obviously same day the PS4 Spider-Man game is coming
Hmm.
out remastered on PS5, and we've talked about this game all the time. And basically, I feel like almost every podcast we talk about this game, it is. I think it is the game that really encapsulates what the PS5 is in terms of power. It looks amazing, and it looks like it plays great. It looks like it hits all of what the original Spider-Man did, and it's giving people the story of Miles that they really want. And yeah. Obviously, you could speak way more to this as a Spider-Man guy. But yeah, this is the killer app of really the entire fall schedule, in my opinion. Not just PS5, but the entire uh, fall schedule.
I will do my best to temper my enthusiasm because
Why? Don't do that.
lately there is another game on this list that we've yet spoken of that I'm starting to
Oh, okay.
really, really get stoked about
Sure.
because I've
I
yet
like Call
to
of Duty
play
too.
this game. But when they showcased this at the PlayStation show, I mean, I was completely gaga over what this could be, what this will eventually be. This brings me back all the way to when we were talking about, oh man, if Rocksteady can make a Batman game, what would they do with a person like Spider Man? It's pretty much what Insomniac did. And
And
now that they're expanding their universe to include Miles Morales, and I'm really, really excited to see what type of stories are laid in.
mhm,
I'm so excited to see what new possibilities there are in regards to the combat,
mhm,
to the weaponry that you get, to the customizations that you're allotted to the Spider-Man.
mhm.
Um,
So
I'm stoked.
let me ask you this. I am a Spider-Man layman. I don't have the history with Spider-Man the character like you do. So let me ask you this: is Miles Morales that different from Peter Parker? Like they're
Yes,
Spider-Mans. Okay.
yes.
Okay. So briefly explain the differences.
All right.
Yep. Okay. So,
So
all right. Let's see. Three
the
hours later.
Marvel universe. there's several. I mean, there's the Ultimate Universe. Then
Ryan.
you have the Earth 616 universe, which has the original Peter Parker who got bit by a radioactive spider
Hmm.
when he was in high school on a
Right.
field trip, and then that's what turned him into Spider-Man.
Hmm.
Kind of the same thing happened to Miles Morales. He was bitten by another radioactive spider. He discovered that he was Spider-Man. All of a sudden, those universes eventually united, and the Miles Morales Spider-Man had eventually crossed over from the Ultimate Universe, which had folded in upon itself because God Doom decreed that. There was a huge Secret Wars kind of debate. Um, what else? The long story short, he is a. I want to get this right. Um, he is a African American Puerto Rican,
Hmm.
um, and he's incredibly smart. Um, and he's basically starting at the roots of where Parker started at. They both have different types of strife growing up, where they did, going to school, et cetera, et cetera. But essentially they come under the same credo that all Spider-Man fall under, is that through some great tragedy they are thrust this great power, and through that great power must also come great responsibility. Miles Morales, and just because, and I don't know, the idea behind Miles Morales, he is a lot more complex than Peter Parker is. Peter Parker has a long history. He's got about 30 to 40 years worth of, growing within him. He's gone through Clone Wars, he's gone through Symbiote Wars, he's gone through the whole gambit with Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn and a whole bunch of clones, all after that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Morales is a very, very clean slate in comparison to that.
Mm-hmm.
His weaponry is it's kind of funny, like when you're comparing the two characters. Miles Morales has some badass um, innate abilities that Peter Parker never really had.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's kind of cool, like to see his to see that portrayed in the, in the teasers for this video game. I'm not going to give it away because I want this to be a surprise for people who are playing as Miles Morales for the first time, but he does things that Peter Parker never even dreamed of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Parker has more heart, obviously. Just that's the nature of him. He will always get up. He will always stand up, no matter how hard he get kicked down. He will always stand up. Miles is slowly but surely learning to get into that mode and learn that, he has that ability as well. It's going to be fun to see the progression of him in this video game, because Peter Parker has such a ridiculously diverse and large rogues gallery of villains that are pretty much now are becoming Miles's villains as well. And so I would love to see them approach it from, bring some classic villains in there, but also bring some new ones in there that, like, a lot of people who aren't comic book readers haven't seen. No one knew who this Mr. Negative was in the first game. And the fact that they brought him in, I was like, oh my God, like they're bringing Mr. Negative into this universe is like, I don't want to say like the big baddie, but he was pretty influential, and he took a huge chunk of that campaign in the Marvel Spider-Man for the PS4. Um, but that's all I'm going to say about that without going too deep into it. I've almost lost my voice in regards to it. I'm really excited. Like, if you haven't seen the Spider-Verse movie, you need to see it.
I do.
It's so, like, for
I
being
know.
an animated movie, it gets really real really quickly, especially at the beginning of that movie, and it's damn near like almost at the top of my favorite Spider-Man forms of media that I've ever taken in, save the comic books themselves. So,
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that they didn't just make.
drink of water.
You're right. I'm glad that it's just not it's another Spider-Man, and it's kind of the same, just a different person. Like, that's cool that it's cool that it's almost a completely different character in a way. And excuse me. I'll say it again. It looks so goddamn good.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot wait to see that game 60 frames per second, flying around. And because I mean, this Spider-Man PS4 it was an incredible technical achievement. But this on a PS5 running at 60 frames and 4K, man, I bet it's gonna. I can't wait to see what these next gen consoles look like in our house. Yeah, that's cool, and yeah, like I said, I think this is the killer app of the fall. Just because the third parties have decent stuff, but there's nothing that's just eye popping really. The next game that's on our list is probably going to end up being the best seller because it always is, and that's the new Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War, that comes out the day after the PS5, and it comes out on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S. No Stadia.
Damn.
And I mean, it's the next
What
Call.
am I gonna play on my Stadia?
I know. What will I ever play on my Stadia? I guess you'll have to play
Maybe
like
Watch Dogs or
Watch Dogs or
Assassin's
Assassin's
Creed
Creed.
Valhalla.
Yeah, Ubisoft games, I guess.
Valhalla.
Valhalla. It's Call of Duty. Look. I mean, it's a Call of Duty game. The one thing that I'm excited about is that they are going to continue to support Warzone. And what they're going to do is, instead of making a whole new BR game that revolves around Black Ops Cold War, they're just going to layer upon Warzone. They're going to put the guns in. They're going to do some things with it. Go ahead.
Aren't those two different companies though? Because one's Treyarch and the other
Yes.
is Infinity Ward.
Yes. But Infinity War is going to continue the work on Warzone along with some
Sure.
help from Treyarch. While I'm sure Infinity War is working on whatever Call of Duty is next. I don't think they have 3 studios anymore making Call of
Okay.
Duties. I think it's just Infinity Ward and Treyarch. Um, you know, uh, Charlie, if you like Call of Duty, you're getting Call of Duty. Are you kind of meh on Call of Duty? You're probably not going to get Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty is Madden. Call of Duty is FIFA. It comes out every single year.
Oh,
And,
sure. They have their
and
legions and
yeah,
you know.
and I will say that regardless of the quality of the stories, those games are always really polished. They always play really well. I mean, they've gotten that shooting action down to a T. I think Warzone's incredible, and I'm glad that they're still supporting it. But again, it's Call of Duty. If you like it, you're gonna get it. My brother-in-law is gonna get Call of Duty. He loves Call of Duty, and he's gonna play it until he still is unlocking shit in Modern Warfare.
It's got Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, and I don't like it. It's weird.
Hey, mommy.
Yeah, and then one of the lead characters looks like Robert Redford. It's just weird.
Old Brad Pitt.
And finally, the last big release is what I would say that this is the closest that we get to potentially being on the same level as Spider-Man in terms of killer apps. It's definitely the third party killer app of the year, and that is finally the release of Cyberpunk 2077. That is coming out on November 19th on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and then Stadia. They have.
But that's what I'm playing on my Stadia.
There you go. There is not word yet on when the official next gen console versions are going to come out. They did say that if you purchase on PS4 or Xbox, you'll be able to migrate over for free and get the upgraded version, and then you'll be able to get the full next gen version when it comes out, which is very cool. Cyberpunk 2077 is CD Projekt Red, best known for The Witcher. It it looks phenomenal, man.
I don't know what that fucking game is.
I don't
but
know.
I
Yeah,
want to eat
like
it.
it appears that it is obviously at its core a shooter. But it feels like it's in that vein of more.
Can I play as John Wick?
You probably can. Or he's a main character. Keanu Reeves is a main character in that. And I'm not gonna lie. So they put out the official release trailer for it with Keanu Reeves in it. I'm not gonna lie. I watched that and was like, I fucking want to get Cyberpunk. Like, there is something about that guy, and he's in the game, and you know, we could spend an hour talking about the controversy behind the development of this game that just came out recently with the mandatory crunch, and how crunch has become a big thing in the development community. We could do that, and that's probably a whole different topic there. But for a second there, I thought that was Chris Stapps. that you put in the chat for a second there. Um, like I said, we could do a whole segment on crunch and how that's real bad, but take that aside. First of all, CD Projekt Red has always been known for incredibly well-made games, games that when they are released, they are well-made and they're ready to go. They're not broken, unlike Bethesda products and game, and other big sprawling games. When The Witcher 3 came out years ago, it was ready to roll. Aside from your bugs that most games, like the little things,
Tend to have.
the quality of their products has never been in question. I don't think this game's going to be any different in terms of its quality. It's just going to be very dependent on story and what the loop is in that game. It seemed, again, that's one of those games where you watch it in trailers and you see it in action and you don't quite have a full grasp of what the game is. But I would say that for me, especially since I'm not getting a PS5 yet, aside from Assassin's Creed, if this game was coming out day and date of the Xbox, this is the game I would be getting. And I'm probably still going to get this game. It's and of course it's a week later, so it's going to get expensive. Yeah, this looks like the killer app of the year, and third party wise, and it's got Keanu Reeves in it, so that's cool.
There are several games on here that I'm already looking forward to debating in regards to game of the year contention.
Yeah, right, absolutely. And the thing that we were a little nervous of going into this year, and especially as we got into spring and COVID kind of took over, was, is this going to end up being a light year for games? Because console transitions tend to be years where the transition is very light in terms of games. You've got your final games that come out for the old consoles. You've got your new games that are, for the most part, it's the entry into that next generation, and they're not necessarily as polished as they'll be in years to come, which is probably still the case. But I feel like, especially with the new console stuff, it seems like that polish is there. Spider-Man, Demons, and again, there's a lot of these are PS4, but Cyberpunk, the Assassin's Creed looks like it's the same as well. While the quantity isn't there, the quality seems pretty good, and I think we're gonna we're gonna go into these winter fall. I was gonna say winter. We don't have winter, but the fall months are going to give us some really good opportunities to play some really cool games. And it doesn't look quite as bleak as it did, say, maybe 6 months ago. Yeah.
I think that's how it is every year, though. Like, a year is 12 months long. And so we're not going to see games come out just pow, 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 like throughout the year, and
sure.
with COVID-19, like you said, there was this weird lull, and like
stuff
all
got
the
delayed.
shows were being put on hold. Things are getting canceled left and right. Things were getting delayed into next year or at the end of the year. And so, yeah, I mean, definitely this year has been awkward
To say the
and
least.
very unusual. But I mean, when you kind of take a step back and look at things, I mean,
it looks like a good
going to
year.
be a little bit of a drop off, but yeah, I think this year has been
Right.
pretty good.
I mean,
when it
obviously,
comes to what has been come out.
It's not gonna go down as the greatest year in gaming. I mean, I don't think that's even close. We can debate those. Our 2011s and 2016s and years like that. And obviously the middle of generations is where you see the quantity and quality. And obviously towards the end and at the very beginning it doesn't happen. But yeah, I don't think people will come out of this year being like, this year just didn't have much. No. And also gaming has become a year long thing. It's not the oh, everything comes
I'm sorry. I read the chat and I just realized I did a Booger McFarlane thing. A year is 12 months long.
That's
God
pretty good.
damn
Uh,
it.
I need to get picture drops on here. I need to be able to have that Booger McFarlane drop where I can press a button and it just pops up on the screen. Um, you know
So goofy,
a
bro.
game the gaming schedule has become a yearly thing. It used to be it was all about the fall, but like the
Yeah.
spring and summer have become just as big. I mean, we saw that
Yeah.
this year with with Animal Crossing and the other a Doom Eternal. So which by the way, those two games came out this year, which seems weird because
Dude, Last of Us came out this year.
yeah, Last of Us came out like 2 months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, which is just weird because it feels like it's been ages. Kobe Bryant died this year. Um, but yeah, it's going to be a really good finish to the year. And yeah, I think there's definitely some stuff that I wanna check out, and I will say this: I'm excited for when I get my PS5, next spring, because there's shit that's coming out right now that I'll be able to catch up on. Your Spider-Mans and Pathless and games like that. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff, and I think both consoles have some really cool things going for it. Game Pass for Xbox and some of the games, and of course the games will be there for both of them going into next year and years to come. It's here, man. The next
I,
generation is here.
I think we need to approach at least the final months of this year and like really, really hammer down something offline so we can give each game its due. Um,
Sure.
Obviously, that means like in regards to you playing certain games that I will be unable to play,
And vice versa.
means we won't be able to play certain games that Joe Shizzle won't be able to play or is playing.
Yeah,
I'm really, really glad he's playing Star Wars Squadrons right now, to be honest. And he's having a fun time doing it. But
it looks really cool.
we may have to be a little proactive because it seems like now, like you said, with the holiday season coming in, with everything we've just read off, the Gatling gun is about to fire off,
I
and
mean, are you talking about in terms of like streaming schedule stuff? Is that
I
what I
mean,
mean?
just just
Well,
generally,
because
like streaming
like
schedule wise,
between
or just hey, like I want to play
between
this, but
between
do
you
you want
and
to play
me,
that?
between you and me, I think we have enough differences where that's not going to be a problem. I mean, you're playing Spider-Man, I can't,
Yeah,
or won't. I mean, Cyberpunk might be the only one, and to be honest, I I don't think I actually, to be honest, like with Cyberpunk, since we're both really interested in that game, I think it would be cool for both of us to play it so we can both have our opinions on it,
oh no, 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 sure,
and
like there's going to be some overlap, but
yeah.
we let's not try to overlap everything. That's my,
No,
I guess that's my
no,
intent
no, and I
at
think what's
explaining
well, and
things.
I think what's really good is that there's enough gap between some of these releases where that won't be too much of an issue, even on games where there is some common interest in them. But yeah, that's something we could discuss on our laps. Um, but yeah, that's the schedule for the rest of this year. Like I said, it's a good little schedule. Not the best we've ever seen, definitely not the worst we've ever seen. And I will say this: streaming and especially doing this podcast has really Josh, we're really glad that you're playing that game because that's not a game that him and I are playing.
Yeah, that's why.
I mean
Thank you.
it's just another person playing something and it's cool to watch you play. Like that game looks
Yeah,
cool as shit. It looks
like
really good. It runs great.
Resident Evil 3. I'm glad that you got to play that game because that's
Yeah.
something that I wanted to see, but I was playing other games at the time. There's only so much time in all our respective days
Right.
as full-time workers as well as full-time fathers that, we've
Well,
got to kind of share the wealth.
and I think that's what makes the our little trio work so well is that we all have really like we do obviously have our common games that we like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like once you get past those little commonalities, it where we have very big differences in the stuff that we like to do, whether it's on stream or what we talk about. And I think it ends up being a pretty good dynamic. But yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff coming up here. And what I was gonna say is that it's really really cool to be interested in new stuff again, because Charlie, you and I, just because we didn't have this, we didn't have something that was kind of keeping us going. I mean, we had our games that we liked to play, and we just didn't really make time for new stuff. But because of this, it's really like, I feel like if we weren't doing this podcast and really into streaming like we were, we wouldn't give a shit about the new consoles this year like we are. We probably wouldn't get them. But it's nice to be really into that. Not even necessarily from the streaming side of it or the podcast, but it's nice to have that fire of, man, new stuff's real cool and I want to play that new stuff. So it's cool to be able to kind of feel that way again. It kind of makes you feel like a kid in ways, or at least not 38 and completely breaking down and throwing up 15 times in a morning, and overflowing toilets. So that's topic of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are at 1:40. We're doing great.
Hour 40.
Yep. 1 minute 40 seconds, guys. 2020, the slowest year ever. No, hour 40. We're doing great. I think this is the quickest we've gotten to our next segment, which our next segment is. Of course, it's the mailbag. I'm supposed to say that before playing the music. I didn't do that because I'm a terrible.
We're having all the difficulties.
I'm a terrible broadcaster. I'm fucking tilted today. No, it's the mailbag, everybody. And if you've got any questions for the mailbag, you can hit us up anywhere. You can hit us up on Discord, on the MC Squad Discord, which is getting big, man. We're almost at 40 people. We're growing, nice. Man. I love it. You guys don't seem to give a shit about my inspirational bullshit, but don't worry, that'll never happen again, you fuckers. You think I'm kidding? Shorter. Yeah, you think I'm kidding? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Notes. I'll next week is basically going to be, hey guys, here's your inspirational, here's your Sunday inspirational for the day. Go fuck yourselves. Yeah, see, so you can yeah, it is shorter. So you guys can hit us up there if you have questions. You can hit us up right here in the MC Gamescast Twitch. You can hit us up any of the times we stream, and obviously the MC Gamescast at gmail.com. Or if you have our phone number, just text us. That's cool too. So we've got some good questions this week. I feel like the questions. Okay, Josh, we get it. Jesus Christ, guys! Seriously,
I love y'all.
So we got some really good questions. The questions have been really good the last few weeks, and this week is no exception. We start with our good friend Smithy. In each of your opinions, what is the most pivotal turning point in the history of video games? Basically, what was the biggest turning point in the history of video games? I think this is easy. Charlie.
It's that guy. It's this guy right here.
God?
No. Oh. Pointing at Super Mario Brothers. Silly.
So, yes, I agree. I'll take it a little bit step further. It was the coming off of the crash of video games, Nintendo coming back with the Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Mario Brothers, and resurrecting the video game industry, because the video game industry was 100% dead. It was done. And if it wasn't for Nintendo, we're not doing this podcast. I really believe that if Nintendo did not come back and brought back the industry, we're not doing this. We're doing a podcast about home improvement or something. The TV show. Yeah, the TV show. Tim the Tollman Taylor, Al Borland, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Without that, we're not here. It was huge. I don't think there's another I don't. I mean, you could obviously say the crash itself, but I mean, I think that kind of it all rolls together.
Yeah, I mean that's you've said everything that I wanted to say. Like
Yeah.
it's literally what pulled us out of the muck in regards to all the money that was being thrown away, and it also like it put in a different business model in regards to people like, hey, like let's license certain games so people just don't come out of the woodwork and make the dentist version of Donkey Kong. That's crazy that it was so open source prior to Nintendo establishing themselves, as well as introducing this new IP that everybody loved, and putting establishing a set of guidelines for that everyone adheres to nowadays. Like the only other one I can kind of think of that is a pretty big turning point was when they started establishing the ratings, the ESRB
You know
ratings.
what? Yeah, that's a good one.
And that, obviously, with the violence and all the games and stuff like that and yada yada yada, I'm not going to go into that debate, but that was a huge turning point in regards to like how people perceived video games as a medium, and like because the kids that were playing video games are now older, and they wanted something more than just like, hey, color plumber that's jumping around and jumping on turtles. But we can't really share our likes and dislikes with people who are 20 years younger, who they don't know shit from Shinola yet.
Yeah.
So
No, I think that's really good. The one that I was thinking of, kind of the same time frame, was Sony breaking from Nintendo and creating the PlayStation. That
oh
separation,
yeah.
because Sony and Nintendo were going to make a console together, and then Sony was like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that, because maybe we should do our own thing and not be held hostage by Nintendo. And that's what it was. Nintendo was, and they still kind of are, very protective of their brand. And so it would, that you wonder what the landscape looks like today if Nintendo and Sony had stayed together. Like, what does that look like? Um, but yeah, but I think it's Nintendo bringing back the industry. Next up from Smithy, what's your favorite go-to time kill video game on PC? I mean, is it Doom
The
2?
go-to or the ultimate time kill?
I mean,
Because
what?
the ultimate time kill is Civ 5.
Sure, yeah,
Like any civilization
yeah,
game, you want to kill some time and you got about 4.5 hours.
yeah.
You can do that.
I was gonna say SimCity 2000 for me. That was the one that I did the most time kill,
Or
or The
probably
Sims.
speaking to the chat, I know me and my brother played our good share of StarCraft or Command and Conquer
Hmm.
games.
Oh yeah,
Want to talk about time kill? Let's get in a little bit of campaign or a little bit PvP and
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
knock out an hour.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't do that anymore. I don't play PC. Like, I guess modern, it was probably Stardew Valley until I got it on Switch. I played that on PC first. That was probably my time kill. Um, so we got one more from Smithy. Let's go ahead and just do these in order. Uh, what's the game that you play the best when you're hammered?
Oh man, I was like, dude, does singing count as hammered? Because I
The
swear,
answer I think for all of us is Rock Band.
I was gonna say, because when I was hepped up after that surgery on
Oh my God.
some codeine, I swear I 100%ed every song that I sang to
Hmm.
that night.
Hey, Ryan, right after he graduated, was shit faced and sang "Inner Sandman." I
Yep.
think I think it is well, and I think for this type of question, it has to be a party game, because you're not gonna sit down and play Spider-Man fucking hammered and play it well. You're just not. You're not gonna play Call of Duty well.
Remember that night we had that party, that really really big party. It was the
I
it
don't.
was the it was the Books a Million and Starbucks joint party.
That's
You
okay.
probably passed out or whatever,
Probably.
whatever. But we had like a Madden tournament
Hmm.
in the living room going on, And I remember, like, that was not my finest hour playing that game. I remember I immediately lost to Johnny K, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go get some more beer or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know. That was fun times, but I can definitely say it wasn't Madden.
No,
But
I
yeah, you're
think
probably right.
it's
It
got to
probably
be
is
a
party
party. Yeah, it
games.
has to be. I mean, the it's got to be Rock Band because I feel like Rock Band you can get by on drunk concentration
Hmm.
and do fine, especially if you're singing. Um, the I will say this though, Rock Band was the most fun drunk game we played for
Yeah.
sure. Which we talked about
Because
that
I
on a
mean, if you're
previous.
trying to do a first-person shooter
You
when you're drunk,
can't.
like
Oh,
you
and I
just
have. I've come home after going to the bar and been like, I'm gonna play some Battlefield Bad Company 2, and it doesn't go well.
what is that?
Or Fortnite with Ryan. God, when we got done with the
Oh,
drunken
GTA
donkey,
would be interesting.
dude, there's no way. What if you got hammered and then made your character in GTA get hammered?
I was gonna say you really shouldn't be drunk driving, but the fact that you're drunk virtual driving, oh,
Or like Forza, trying to play Forza Horizon
oh
drunk.
my gosh,
No, I could barely play
maybe
that
it's
game
the right
sober.
turn. I'm turning
I'm
right.
going right. It's yeah. I can't remember the last time I played a video game drunk. In fact, I don't even remember the last time I was drunk. It might have been,
Boy,
God, I don't even remember. Like drunk, like buzzed, whatever. But
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's
God,
buzz
but
drunk,
just
but
gross
like
drunk.
freaking hammered. I don't know. I might. Was it Jackbox?
Yeah, I mean that's
It might have
closest.
been Jackbox the last time I played when I was that drunk. I
Ti
mean, I drank a bottle of whiskey.
Ti Cup, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Taking in the podcast with us. Appreciate you, pal. Have a good one. Hope to see you again soon.
Is T
Um, yeah, well, Ti. He's on
Ti?
a motherfucking boat. Yeah, yeah, I can't. God, I can't even remember. But yeah, Rock Band, fantastic game, and even better when you're drunk and playing with a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is T-Pain. Never mind. Screw me. Let's move on. We got a couple of questions from our good pal Josh here.
Where's War Towel?
All right. Yeah, Ti's different. No, I get it. No, I get it, guys. It's fucking. I get it. Good God. We got a couple from Josh here.
It's purple.
I don't think Josh streams, so we don't need to promote his stream. I'm just kidding. Josh Shizzle 2323. Check him out. He's the best. And so he's got two questions for us. Let's start with favorite pistol in video game history. The Golden Gun, GoldenEye. One hit kills.
Took my answer.
I mean, it's one hit kills.
Yeah, I was gonna say like in how it at first felt shooting the Walther PPK, like it would still be the golden gun, but just the initial sound of you like cocking that thing, and it was just so good to shoot with that thing in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, like the original Halo
oh, I'm sorry,
pistol.
Josh.
The original Halo pistol, yeah, GoldenEye historian Josh Shizzle. Um,
He'll
the
call you out.
in Halo, the pistol was so incredibly overpowered in that game. Like it was more powerful than almost any weapon in that game. It was really weird. They really screwed up with that. I guess in a modern game, I really I really like the dual pistols in Fortnite a lot. They're really fun to shoot. That's really it. I don't really have a big history with pistols, really.
Boy, I I won't say which pistol specifically, but shooting pistols in Red Dead with Deadeye was so much fun.
Oh, sure.
Especially when it was the
Yeah.
quick draw
Oh, yeah.
events.
Some of the revolvers in there. Yeah, it's good
That
stuff.
was really, really fun.
And finally, in the most obvious, and we'll have the most obvious answer of the night. So would you give up? And this is particular to us being here in Dallas Fort Worth. Would you give up a major Dallas DFW sports team to gain a championship for another franchise? And what would it be? Go ahead, go ahead and get it out of the way. Who are we getting rid of?
Bye, Rangers.
And who's winning?
Oh, the Cowboys.
Okay, you're wrong. It's the Rangers and the Mavericks again. Fuck the Cowboys. I'm not gonna hand Jerry a fucking title. Fuck that guy. It's the Mavericks, man. Get Luka his championship,
The
man.
Mavericks will get theirs already.
Don't say that, because that's not true at all. They may.
The Mavericks are closer to an NBA title than the Cowboys are to a Super Bowl title.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. 100%. I was about to say something that was not going to be correct. I was about to say the Rangers are closer to a title than the Cowboys are, but that's not true. But
No.
It would be easy to say the Stars just because it's been since '99 and we just had the heartbreak here. But I feel like in terms of the team that I love the most right now today, it's the Mavericks. So that's and yes, the answer is the Rangers. And for me, it's not necessarily because LOL baseball. It's because they are so poorly ran and so goddamn awful, and there's no hope that's an easy answer. But I want the Mavericks to win one more than the Cowboys. Yes, it's very much a sports radio 1310 the ticket question.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for that.
I wasn't gonna put this in here, but we actually are a little bit ahead. Josh also asked if Jimmy Johnson would have stayed the coach after the second Super Bowl, would they have won more?
Or how many more
we won? I mean, I think the answer is I think it just would have been like one, maybe two more, because by that point the NFL was going to start catching up with the Cowboys. The Cowboys were so far and ahead of everybody else because of Jimmy that they, like, I think they absolutely could have gone four in a row, you know.
Well, and you're also forgetting, like, when the Cowboys won their Super Bowls, free agency hadn't really been a thing yet.
Yeah, it hadn't gotten big.
That's when it started, right when the Cowboys like won their third Super Bowl in 4 years.
Yeah,
and we might have won one more after that, but
I think they could have. I think they could have won in the middle year they didn't win, the first year of Barry.
Oh yeah,
like I think they could have done four in a row, but anything past the four, I mean, the Cowboys, like, Barry is not the reason why the year after they won their third Super Bowl they got bad. It's because free agency caught up, the players started to deteriorate a little bit, and I probably would give them the one extra. Jimmy's great, Mike McCarthy. Get your shit together, Cowboys! God damn it! God damn it! I hate them so much! I hate them so much! God. All right, and that's the mailbag.
This is the MC Gamescast.
Oh, just God. You thought I was triggered earlier over the Discord thing. Fuck no, it's the Cowboys that trigger me. Even still. I can't wait for them to lose to the Giants this week.
Oh, man.
So,
and they're like, what if they lose to the Giants? And I nearly fell out of my chair laughing.
So, yeah, goddamn. And that's the mailbag this week. Thank you guys so much for the questions, as usual.
Jason Garrett's clapping his ass all the way off the field.
God, I hope the Cowboys clap his cheeks this weekend. That's gonna do it for the mailbag, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for all the questions, and we appreciate each and every one of you for your questions and your views and listens. Thank you guys so much for that. And it's time for the last segment of the day, making record time, and that segment is. And now, it's time for Tuesday Night Scatter Shooting, with your host, Charles Zarzuela, right here on the MC Gamescast.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, and I am here with Scattershooting with wondering whatever happened to the zip disk.
Oh, God.
Don't know. Don't remember. Anyway, last week, because it was really, really stressful and we were really, really running late and everything like that, I was unable to introduce this new segment as a sub-segment of the Scattershooting, and that would be the CZ Cinema Corner. And my main objective here is to bring to light thanks. My main objective here is to bring to light basically, we all love and playing video games here, but every now and then video games will try to traverse that little border into the movie realm, and a lot of times it can come off as really, 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 really bad. But there are a few nuggets out there that I got to, I'd like to make the listening audience and the watching audience aware that they should, check these movies out. And because it is October and it is the scariest month, I wanted to begin with the movie Silent Hill. Silent Hill, again, boy, if you haven't played Silent Hill, you are missing one hell of a scary game. But if you haven't watched the movie, well, you're not missing much, but you actually are missing a really, really decent movie that, portrays the video game. It's a dark psychological survival horror game / movie. There's obviously some parallels that they take at liberties to, like in the game you're playing as Harry Mason searching for your adopted daughter Cheryl. In the movie, you're watching Rose trying to find her adopted daughter Sharon. Those are just some of like the little details, but I'm gonna kind of dive into the parallels. There's a lot of good stuff that is part of this movie that you really, really just, if you're trying to tie the two together, it's just not going to work out. You just have to disconnect yourself that this is the movie and this is the video game. And well, the one thing about this movie is that it really, really holds the ambience and the sound at the forefront. It's the town of Silent Hill. It's the darkness. Like in the video game, you're pretty much traversing through each levels and you're in this kind of foggy, snowy haze, and it eventually just gradually makes its way to being really, really dark. Mitch, have you ever played this game?
Silent Hill?
Yeah.
I played Silent Hill 2 for about an hour and got too scared.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. Like,
it's a fantastic game.
This is not for the faint of heart. Like, I literally had to watch my roommate play it from afar, and I'm like trying to put together a hamper in the other room while I'm like peeking around the corner. I'm like, okay, where are you at now? Oh, okay. So in the movie, it does really, really good jobs by adopting some of the things that are from the video game, namely the baddies. Like you have like the gray little children. You got these little babies that are crawling around. They're all deformed or whatever, and they're going, and it's creepy. And like they go from like 1 to 2 of them, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by dozens of them. You have the creepers, which are basically these roaches things that crawl out of the holes of the wall, and just it's really, really, really grotesque. The one thing about this movie that I really, really noted was that pyramid head, the epitome of evil in like a lot of video games, makes an appearance in this movie. But in the video game world, he doesn't really make an appearance until Silent Hill 2. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting that they're kind of like combining like the first game and the second game as well. Mm-hmm. Also, when you were watching marketing for this movie, they really, really showcased the nurse puppets. These were the nurses that had like practically no face. They all had these like tightly, hugged uniforms that definitely push their tits up in a way that you're like, okay, that's kind of hot, but not really, because they're all holding scalpels and they just want to cut you off at the neck. They just want to drain your blood like from that source. So, to dumb things down, basically, Rotten Tomatoes gave this a grade of 31%, which, that's pretty much the standard for a lot of video game movies nowadays. Like, you've got, Oh, I'm trying to like you have Doom, you have Resident Evil, you've got what's the volleyball game?
Oh, Dead or Alive. The
Yeah,
volleyball game?
yeah. You
You
have
mean
Dead or
the
Alive.
fighting game, Dead or Alive?
I thought that you would understand if I said the volleyball game because there are lots of fighting games out there. You have Mortal Kombat, you have Street Fighter. A lot of these games that climb the wall over to the movie realm, they tend to get a lot of bad, just like criticism from the critics because let's just face it, it's all like bad acting, it's all bad choreographing. They don't understand our world. They don't understand the video game realm, what we're trying to see and what we're trying to experience. A lot of the movie production companies don't get it. But I'll have to say, like when it comes to Silent Hill and this movie, they pretty much captured the horror in a really, really, depicted way where everything is visceral, everything is gory. And I think the audience agree with me. Like, I mean, it got a 63%, which is technically certified fresh as part as and watchable when it comes to the Rotten Tomatoes viewings, and that's amongst 367,000 reviewers. So
That's not bad.
I know, like it's
Especially
so
for a
weird.
video game movie.
Exactly, and so I would say, like, especially around this time of the year, I would like just take a fun little dive into Silent Hill. It's a fun 90-minute romp where there's a lot of gory parts, especially when things turn dark. It gets all metallic, it gets all really dark, it gets really, really super loud and super disturbing. I mean, it's just fun. And then, like, if you've played the video game, you can appreciate some of the things that they're trying to achieve here.
So real quick, um, the you're gonna do these reviews throughout. Are you doing scary movies or are you doing video game movies?
I'm doing video game movies. It just
Okay.
happens to be that now we're in October. I'm
That just
covering this particular movie right here.
so let me just ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being it's not that bad, 10 being there's no way Mitch would watch this movie in terms of scare factor. Where would you put it?
Well, see, that's the problem is that you're asking me. If I would put this in here, I would literally put it in the middle as a 5.
Okay.
Because
Okay, if I
the reason
quit,
I'm saying this is not because it's a scary movie, but because you understand scary movie tropes.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so I quit Silent Hill once I got to the town because the tension was too bad and the fucking first creature scared the shit out of me. So would that put me at a 10
For the game?
for the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't watch it. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, like the thing is though is that when you're playing the game and like
There's a
I've even
difference.
had a realization with this, like trying to start up RE2 the other night. There is one thing to watch it because you're literally in the passenger seat. When you're in the driver's seat, it's a whole nother thing. It is you traversing those dark hallways. When you're watching the movies, you're just kind of in it for the ride. And Silent Hill kind of is a really, really, fun ride that there are some scares, there are some really disturbing moments in it, but in regards to like jump scares and stuff like Conjuring and stuff like that, it's more or less it's more of a horrific, gory story rather than a scary jump scare. Um, you know, it's not trying to. The purpose of it is not trying to make you jump out of your seat. It's trying to make you churn in your seat because you're like, oh my goodness gracious. Like there's literally one part in the movie, and regardless if you watch it or not, I don't mind telling you this. Pyramid Head manifests himself in front of the church. There's a lady who she's constantly throwing rocks at like an evil person or whatever because she's some right wing religious person. She does not refuses to go inside. So Pyramid Head literally picks her up, grabs her by her chest, and just skins her. And it is
Okay.
literally like in one fell swoop. I'm not talking like, okay, he just rips her chest off. It comes off in like one bodysuit piece. And so
That's kind of awesome.
it's kind of, you see
Yeah,
the
see,
power of that
yeah.
character,
Yeah, see
but
that
at the
doesn't
same
bother me as
time,
much.
it's not like you don't see it coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to kind of because I'm trying to get into scary stuff. Obviously, starting Friday, I'm trying to get into it. So Silent Hill, the reason why Silent Hill was really really hard for me to play was because of tension. I don't
Oh,
like
gotcha.
tension at all. is this a tense movie, or is it more closer to just kind of the gory side of it, like you're mentioning?
There are some tense moments,
Okay.
but it ebbs and flows in a really, really good pattern where the plot is forming and you're watching it and you're like, okay, they're building story, building story, building story, and then all of a sudden you hit this moment where the lights go out, everything goes dark. Rose is in a spot where she's just like, where is
Yeah.
Sharon? Where is Sharon? And you're just like, okay, this is the tense part. This is the part where I'm like, I'm not going to blink. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. But then it ebbs and it subsides, and then it's like the tides. It rises and it falls, and it rises and it falls. And I think some people who love those movies that are just constantly at 11, you don't really get the full effect because you're constantly just like, pedal to the metal. You need to
Yeah.
slow things down. You need to build things around. And it's interesting what they did with the story in regards versus what they did versus the video game. Like, I'm not going to say too much about it, but it put it into a perspective where, oh my gosh, like these are real events that have happened historically,
Hmm.
and they kind of adopted it into this story. And obviously there's some supernatural stuff entailed within, but you're just like, oh wow, like yeah, there are these right-wing religious people that, are they really good, or are they really, really not so good? And you
Right.
find out, what there is in there. And like honestly, in a way, the movie brings out the antagonists in a way that are actually more is actually darker and more disturbing than what the game did.
Sure. And I'll just quick tangent, and I'll let you. I just want to get this out because I think you'll actually enjoy this.
Smithy,
Our main Smithy in the
good morning,
house.
sir.
Um, The Conjuring is the one with the like security camera footage, right? Where it's like in the room, and is that it?
There's a lot of stuff, man.
There's the one that
Any paranormal activity?
I that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah.
So I don't that movie is fucking tense as shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's all about tension. I hate tension. I fucking hate it. I fucking love that movie. It's awesome. It's so good. And it's like super tense. Like, you would think that that would be the antithesis of what I would like.
Well,
And I
sure.
probably don't like anything else like it, but man, that movie is fantastic. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
And when it comes to this movie, when you're speaking about paranormal activity, the tension is caused because you're waiting for the bottom to fall out, and the
Bottom.
people who produce that movie do such a good job of holding on to that moment a little longer in a
Yes.
disturbing amount of time.
Yeah.
That you're just like, just give it to me.
Oh, there's so
already.
many moments where you're like, here it comes, and then it doesn't
Yeah.
happen. And
then
then
it
and
doesn't
then
happen.
and then when you let your guard down, just
Are
enough.
you serious, Josh?
That's awesome. That's
Oh my
great, Josh.
gosh. I know,
Uh,
but with Silent Hill, it doesn't really do that. It allows you to absorb the story,
mhm.
but at the same time, there are moments of, being scared. There's a moment where Rose is trying to traverse through a maze deep underneath the ground, and it's completely dark, and all of a sudden she runs into the nurse puppets. And now what is she going to do? Because if she turns on the lights, the nurse puppets wake up and they try to attack her. But if the lights are off, she has to traverse her way through this maze of nurse puppets that are all holding scalpels in their hands, by the way. And if she touches any of them, she's screwed.
Damn. That's awesome.
But,
That's interesting. That's
I
interesting.
mean, I give this movie a solid, a B, maybe a B minus at
Okay.
points. Sean Bean is in it. I mean,
Does he
and
die?
he doesn't die.
Then it's not a good movie.
But
It's not a Sean Bean movie.
I would say like where it goes after this, I'll probably go into detail on a different time. But this movie is a standalone movie in regards to how it adapts and adopts from its original literature in the video game. I think it does a good job.
That's cool. That's cool. You got anything else in scatter shooting?
That's it, man.
That's it. Well, thank you very much for listening to Tuesday Night Scatter Shooting. We'll see you next Tuesday right here on the MC Gamescast. Man,
Very
I
nice.
don't know who that was. That was weird. That was weird.
It was stupid.
Uh, I enjoyed that very much. That's cool. I I love that we're taking these scatter shooting things and just taking them as their own. There's no format to them. I like what we're doing with this. I think it's a cool thing, and I like what you did there. I hope you continue to do cool stuff like that. In the future. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end of the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. It's going to be our shortest podcast by about 3 minutes.
Yay!
We kept it pretty close to our 2-hour goal.
I gotta work in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have this out to you tomorrow.
Yes, I'm going to
2 days later.
Yeah, because we're not ending at 12:25 or whatever bullshit. So thank you guys so much for hanging out today. Thank you guys so much that are watching this on VOD or listening on watching on YouTube, listening on all the podcast networks. Thank you guys so much for your support for both myself and the great Charizard81. Charlie will be back on Thursday to begin again on that Resident Evil 2. Is that correct?
Yes.
And
As soon as we close, I am hitting Thursday night straight up for.
perfect.
And I may, because it's been a hot minute, I think I'm going to start completely over.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't get too far into it.
I didn't get too far in, so
and
now I know what to expect.
I'll be back tomorrow with probably Rocket League because I'm a Rocket League streamer now. Though I might,
Rocket League streamer.
I may
Rocket
get,
League streamer.
I may actually get back into No
Look at
Man's
this
Sky. I'm having a great time with it. And then Friday Frights with the Llama begins with Until Dawn.
Finally.
And I'm gonna get that going. I got 4 more Friday nights to finish it. That should be about 8 hours. Can't wait to get into that.
Shizzle's got Squadrons tomorrow.
That's right, absolutely. I was gonna get to it. Charlie, you're back on Sunday, I believe. Are you gonna play Dixie Kong?
No. I said this once I ended Donkey Kong Country 2 is I'm taking a break, and I literally want to just devote all my time and energy to Resident Evil 2.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, then, yeah.
We're going to plow through that and really, dig through the sinews of that sucker.
Perfect. And, so check that out. And, of course, Josh Shizzle, Lunchtimes with Josh.
It's no Luigi's Mansion. That's right.
Lunchtimes with Josh playing some Star Wars Rogue Squadrons. Or not Rogue Squadrons, Squadrons. And then streaming whenever he darn pleases. So check him out as well. We'll go ahead and turn that on. And so, yeah, and then, of course, we'll be back next week. Charlie, we are just about 1 month away from new consoles. Super excited.
So stoked.
So stoked. Haven't been this stoked for a new console in a very long time. And we can't wait to bring you some good content on stream and on the podcast.
What build are you gonna camp outside?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna get home from work on November 10th, and it's gonna be on my doorstep. So that's all I gotta do.
And hope Target sends it to you rather than.
It hasn't been canceled yet. But yeah. So once again, everybody, thank you guys so much for all the support that you give us. We appreciate each and every one of you. And for Charles Arzuela, I'm Mitchell Barron. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye, everybody.